Welcome to the Loony Bin. My name is Loony, and today I have a very special video where we will be dissecting and talking about No Promise to Keep, the famous, legendary, the song just came out a couple days ago, so it's already legendary in my book.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, No Promises to Keep. We will go over, is the song a love song from Aerith to Cloud, or is it, as Nojima put it, a song for everybody that Aerith has met her feelings for everyone? We will discuss whether, what is the proper way to, take this song. But before we begin, just want to say, you do not have to take our word, because we know how very sensitive this song and the meaning of the song and just how describing or analyzing the song can be to a lot of people. So you may not like what you hear, but at least just listen, and hopefully you get maybe a good understanding in how myself and my friend thinks about the song. So we understand that it is a very sensitive topic right now in the Final Fantasy VII community. So just at least hear us out, and please be, if you want to comment about your own interpretations, just be civil. That's all we ask. And hopefully you at least understand where we're coming from in terms of this song. So with me today, I have a very good friend of mine who is a connoisseur of music and analyzing lyrics in music, as well as someone who just constantly tells me that Final Fantasy XIV is the greatest game of all time.
It is. Yeah.
Which, debatable.
Yeah,
but,
no.
it is debatable, all right?
No,
Leave me alone.
no.
I will play it one day, all right? I will play it one day, but...
I'll take that. If you're going to play it one day, I'm down.
But allow me to introduce to you to Hugs Online.
Yeah, what's up? What's cracking in the free world? What's going on?
Oh God, so cringe. Oh.
What? It's not cringe.
No, I know it's not cringe. I know.
It's
Hi.
Cool. What's up? Yeah. So,
hi, Hugs.
What's up?
Tell us about yourself.
I'm a VTuber girl, and that means that I'm cool. 1, 2. You can find me online where I basically obsess a lot about Final Fantasy XIV and music. I've done quite a lot of streams that have gotten, I don't know what to call it, buzz. People have paid attention to me for basically these long ass streams where I ramble about what the song means for how an exhaustive amount of time. It's fun, which is kind of the core of it, is that I just have a really good time doing it. And yeah, I don't know, it's just fun. People are real nice to me about it, even though I think whatever.
And at the end of the day, that's, it's all about having fun. Right, shippers?
What? Don't do that.
Listen.
Don't do that.
On this channel, I have stated that shipping is all about having fun. That if you like shipping, that's great. I'm a shipper. Hugs.
Okay, yeah.
Will you say, are you a shipper, or?
As a shipper, no. I would say yes. I'm not really as active in it as other people. If anything, I delight in seeing other people ship. So there isn't too much of a ride or die. That's my ship. That's my going Mary. You know what I mean? I just think when I see people derive romantic, platonic, sentiments and intimacy from characters, I think it's really cool. But the only ones that I really have these are mine is Naruto, Sasuke, and then Guts and Griffith. That those are just canon to me. I get a lot of emotional value out of thinking about them in a cis-normative world. So I really enjoy those ones. And
Guts and Griffith? What?
Hell
That's
yeah,
that's like shipping Cloud and Sephiroth.
Oh well, I gotta go.
Okay. Well, okay.
I gotta go.
Okay, yeah. I know. We're just jesting. I just wanted to make that point clear because a lot of this song has to do within the shipping community of Final Fantasy VII, and I just wanted to make it clear that Hugs doesn't have any sort of bias towards this song.
No, I don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
I generally like when I look at the song, I go, yeah, it's pretty open. But like, that's the beauty of shipping, is that you can basically like get a bunch of meaning out of it. I think this song has been intentionally written that way. But there's no ride or die. I think like I ship all the characters like with each other all the time. So like one day it's like, oh yeah, Barrett and Cloud, they're so into each other. Next day I'm like, yeah, ride or die, Aerith and Cloud. Or like, Tifa, Cloud, Cloud, Sephiroth. And if there's any Barrett Sephiroth shippers out there, you're seed.
You're cool.
You're cool.
Right?
You know what? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But
But at the end of the day,
At
the end of the day, we want to make this discussion about the song specifically in the attempts to see exactly does what Nojima said in the most recent interviews and what his most recent Twitter posts were, X.com post, whatever.
Yeah.
Where he wrote this song with the intention of Aerith's feelings for not just one special person or significant person, but to everyone she has met in her life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I've scoured the internet, lurked the internet for everyone's interpretations of the song. And I've seen some wild takes, some really wild takes, but generally some takes that were very neutral in what Nojima has been basically saying about the song ever since that video dropped. So,
for sure.
So we want to, discuss this song because it's a very hot topic right now in the Final Fantasy VII community. And I think that having someone like Hugs, who really, really dives into music, the lyrics, and, more of the analysis portion of songs, I think she can definitely help us, get through the song and see if, like, this is exactly the way Nojima wanted it to be or not. So.
Right. Yeah. I'm, like, a big hobbyist on that. So, like, I would never call myself an expert ever. But, like, I would say that, like, it is a very harsh pastime of mine. I definitely spend an absorbent amount of time on it than maybe other people. Yeah. I also wrote my own poetry, so I'm very much into lyricism.
Oh, nice. The way I see it, if you know more than me in any sort of topic, you're an expert in my opinion.
All right, does that mean I get paid?
No. Anyway.
All right, I gotta go.
You get back here. Okay, so how should we start with this discussion? Should we go over the lyrics as the first thing that we do with this song? Because the full song came out, I believe it was like yesterday? Yes, it was yesterday that it was officially released, April 3rd. And it's a little bit different compared to the scene in, during the whole performance scene where Aerith sings a song, right? Mm-hmm. The lyrics are slightly, it's a longer version of it compared to that scene. So we thought that it would probably be best to wait for the full song to see if, like, maybe there's anything else there that could essentially really get to the bottom of, like, what this song really is about.
Yeah, sure.
And so we looked through the lyrics, and I think we came up with a decent conclusion on our part.
Yeah, I would say so.
All right.
Yeah, like, do we want to go into just, like, reading lyrics, or do we actually want to, like, gauge some of the other, like some of the other takes outside of that?
I think the first thing we'll do is just go over the lyrics. I think that would be probably the best thing to do first, and then we'll go into everything else.
Okay.
Because that in itself is wild.
Yeah. So like, let's start with something that I think is kind of important to bring up. So essentially, if we're gonna do like any like at least this is going to be the groundwork for my opinion going forth. Okay.
Okay.
But essentially, the way that this song was written, and we got like just genuine confirmation. I never even doubted it because of like just my experience with music. But like this song is made to be pretty vague. It's supposed to like be as interpretable as possible, and this is not a derogatory term. It's supposed to be like generic in a lot of ways, where it's like people are going to look at the lyrics and they're going to apply anything to it because there's no like smoking gun for the most part for like it being about just one person. I think that there's like a line here that I think people who may like lean on one more sided than the other might question me on, and that is the first line, which is the worn cobblestones. But even then, I still think that like it's still not like enough to say that it's just purely like just about Cloud.
Right.
I think if anything, it's just about like her people and like how she feels about herself in the world, like potentially departing. Because while you may look at this song literally, I think you have to also read it as contextual to the actual game itself. Because like I said that this was generic, but like the way that it works in the game makes it more complex, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this is a performance. I mean, like it's even shot like a performance in game.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and
yeah.
and also just to make it clear, we're not saying that people can interpret the song in any way. What we're saying is that this is a song about Aerith's feelings. The part where we mean about it being generic is that it's not necessarily talking about over one individual.
Not like a lot of like love songs in the industry are written like this. Like there's even a line by Bo Burnham that's like it's a gag in the industry to write like songs pretty like anybody can be a part of it. It can be about your mom, it can be about your platonic friend, it can be about whatever, because like I think the most inherent thing in life is that people have issues or complications of intimacy. And so to avoid complications or people feeling alienated from the track, they'll just say you. It'll be like, I met you, you are so great, and like it's just positive association. Like insert here. That's what a lot of love songs are. And the Bo Burnham thing is like, oh, I love your bluish, greenish, brownish, eyish color. because like it sells well. It sells well if like everybody can be like applied to those songs. So this is just a technique that I'm quite familiar with already. I assure you, go look at like some of your favorite love songs, and they might be the least specific possible, right?
Yeah.
About who it's about.
Yeah.
And so this is written in that way, but like I think because of how it's written to be quite vague, it lends a lot to the performance of Aerith. If anything, I think the lack of a conclusion, the lack of specific details, supports and embellishes the tragedy that comes along with her character, which is that we wish we got more, right?
Yeah.
So I think that like, again, this is just groundwork for like basically like the crux of the whole song, but like let's actually look at the most overt lyrics first, which is the first one, which is the walking city streets with worn cobblestones. I'm listening to people rushing past to rhythms all their own. And rhythms just being like algorithms, just life, right? Because like, life works in patterns. And then, like Aerith is just kind of like being whisked away in this life. There's nothing like everything's almost like it's like rumination. And so life passing me by, not thinking of how the years have flown. We at least know that she's not like 1 year old. She has years on her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
She's not like going retrospectively into a child perspective or something. And
Yeah,
when
exactly.
she's singing on stage here, this means more to her in the current moment, right?
Yes.
So just eliminating those, and then until
Mm-hmm.
I met you, which that's pretty significant, right? Like now, if we're talking about the worn cobblestones, we've seen a few people suggest that. And again, I actually genuinely don't have a problem with people who like really like think about it in these way, but like I've seen people go, well, this is the smoking gun to say that this is just about Cloud. Where it's like walking city streets and worn cobblestones in that street. Oh, well, like they met there, right? Remember the ground was cobblestone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like this line isn't totally connected with the last one, right? It can be, I think, where it's like walking city streets with worn cobblestones, but there's two lines in between that is just like life passing me by, people rushing, different rhythms until I met you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
uh the whole point is that like there's so many people in the world, but like you can find like a significant person who has like an impact on you. And I think it's fair to say that Cloud has had like a significant impact, but at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, it's not saying that like they literally met on the cobblestone stone streets. You know what I mean? It could just be
Right.
like blank anywhere. The whole point is that it's illustrating a very common habit, a rhythm of Eris as well, because she brings up rhythms of other people. But like her rhythm is that she goes to cobblestone selling flowers, etc.
Yeah.
So like you know it totally works that like her rhythm has been disrupted by a certain person. That's
Mm-hmm.
the crux of this first intro line, right?
Right.
Are we following?
Oh, I'm following. I mean, I can't say anything about people watching this video, but I am following. Yes.
Like what do you think of that, Lunilium?
I think that's a more logical reasoning um based around just how Nojima has stated about what his intentions with the song were, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because walking city streets with worn cobblestones, listening to people rushing past the rhythm of their own life
Yeah.
passing me by, not thinking how the years have flown. That doesn't necessarily mean she's talking specifically about that one moment that she meets Cloud.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
talking
For
about
sure.
how like she goes around selling flowers. She sees
Yeah.
people constantly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and worn cobblestones just mean that she's been on that same path, walking that same path or
Yeah.
same cobblestones countless times, and
Yeah.
then she meets people constantly. She definitely meets people constantly. Some people might
Mm-hmm.
mean more to her than others, such as Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
part of Eric's character is loving the planet and the people who live on it. And I think that fits more to it just talking about that one moment where she does meet Cloud.
Yeah, for sure. And like like this whole thing of worn cobblestones, like you can also apply that to her, right? Like cuz she's saying that like life was passing me by and that like worn cobblestones. So if something is worn, that means that like by time and, you know, interaction that
Mm-hmm.
it has become progressively older. So like the worn
Yes.
cobblestones linked with her years passing her by, right? And so she has like a bit of a carefreeness, or
Mm-hmm.
even rather, I think like the carefreeness has now taken a tinge of bitterness, knowing what we know of Aerith's fate, right?
Right.
So yeah, this is like again contextually, she's thinking about this where we know that Aerith knows about like what her fate is going to entail. Uh that was sort of implied in even the first remake game, not just Rebirth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is just like a pretty good like little introduction. I think it sounds really good. In terms of like the metatextual parts, we can get a little bit further into that later on, but right now I think textually, I think we're all on the same page that significant other person has disrupted their rhythm. Maybe we disagree that the placement is that they are on the cobblestones or not, but like regardless, she's gonna be a lot of people on cobblestones anyway. At least textually, we know where Aerith meets Cloud, so
Mm-hmm.
there you go, right?
Yeah, and like we said, if you want to interpret that part as Eric meeting Cloud, you can. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with that,
yeah,
right? But the
yeah, for
song,
sure.
but the song is trying to make it out as being like just like it could actually mean anyone. Like she could have met anyone, and maybe that person did, not necessarily change her life as much as Cloud did, but like just made her life a little bit more interesting in some form or way.
Like again, like maybe we disagree where Smoking Gun is, but like I don't really see this as like overtly obvious about Cloud. Like, I think it can be for sure. I mean, like there's at least some evidence to support that, but I don't think it's like. I think the gap between those lines is like I still think it's like still kind of generic. That it's like it could be just anybody, right? Even like okay, like even if we agree, which I don't have a problem with, is like if we agree that it is about Cloud, I still think like there's other people that Aerith has met on cobblestone streets, right?
I mean, yeah,
regardless.
Of course.
So yeah, I think we all get that, right? So here's a cool line. This is, I won't say that it was fate. I won't say it was destiny. That is the first verse. But if not, what could it be that drew you towards me? Could it be chance? And I really love this sentiment. This is like one of my favorite parts of the song, and it's the most Japanese theming possible because, well, Japan just loves their struggle with fate, and Final Fantasy is no exception.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy is obsessed with overcoming fate and like changing things, changing what could be, right?
Like it's insane how much Final Fantasy actually focuses a lot about fate and destiny. Like even in the most recent Final Fantasy 16, it's about the main character changing his fate of like who he is and what he's supposed to grow up to. It's like fucking. It's a constant theme in goddamn Final Fantasy that it's not anything that shouldn't be too surprising from Square Enix at all.
Yeah, like it's like just Japan in general. Steins Gate, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Naruto, what is it? Hunter x Hunter. There's a lot of like stories that just deal with like purpose. Right, like to be or not to be's of life, right? Not in the like the dying sense, but like what is that? What is your role in this like big world that you care about or you don't care about, right? Like you're here for some reason, whatever, right? And so, what is your fate, destiny? And then, so in this line, Aerith says that I won't say that it's fate or destiny, and the appeal is, what could it be that? But if not, what could it be that drew you towards me? Could it be chance, right? So it's almost like, how do I say this? She won't say that it's not fate or destiny, but like, let's say that it was fate or destiny. What does that mean, right? Could it be chance? And then the whole thing of could it be chance is like, did the world intend for me to do this? And does that make it more significant or not, right?
Right.
So I think that falls in line with Aerith's character, especially given like how she thinks that she's gonna get going, and also like her ties to the world itself. So the like is this like random little like two atoms finally meeting, like is that like the spark that just happened, and that's why it means so much. Whomever it is, because I don't think it's just one person. It's just like her wrestling with that, and it also like again nods towards some of its macro themes already, like as a lyric. So like even if like you're not thinking about Aerith directly, it is about fate and destiny again, like kind of reminding you, the player, that this is a common word. Like it almost like subconscious subliminal messaging that you will remember that there is a line about fate and destiny if it comes up so much, just to your average player. So yeah, that is a really good line. What do you think of that, Loony? I don't want to just kind of hog
No, it's fine. I'm
a yapper.
I'll be honest is that I may understand certain stuff, but sometimes stuff goes over my head. So it's not that I have nothing to say. It's just that I'm learning as much as other people are learning. So listening to you explain that, it's not just me being like, agreeing or just silent, but like understanding, where you're coming from, and just learning more and more as we continue talking.
Right. Do you have like a different interpretation of this at all? Because I do want to, like, if you don't, that's fine. Like, it's okay to say, like, I just don't know.
I don't think I have that
it a lot.
much. Yeah, I don't think I have that much of a difference in interpretation.
Okay.
Because honestly, it just talks about how like Everett doesn't believe that Everett tries everything she can to defy fate and destiny, because in the story, in the game, there is a moment where she talks about the whispers removing some of her memories and knowledge of the world, because it's hinted at in remake that she may know much more than she's leading on, or not telling people. So it was like, to me, this is more like she knew what her fate was, but she's talking about how like meeting somebody or meeting whoever, that she doesn't want it to be fate or destiny, because that means that she has to meet that person. There's
Yeah, that's a great point. That's great. Don't gut yourself. Because like if we're already on the topic of defying destiny, could it be that like in order to defy her fate, could it instead be chance, as well as like getting out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, because chance is like just random things happen, opposed to like everything is scripted in this world.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, she wants it to be a chance instead of something that fate decided.
Yeah,
Which is why she doesn't want to call it fate. She doesn't want to call it destiny. She wants it to be a chance, because that goes off script.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
What eventually she has to go down on. What the path she has to go down on.
No. That's really ergonomically well said. I kind of was trying to get at that a little bit, but I lost my way. But that's great.
That happens to me a lot. Don't worry.
I still think I added some substance there, but that is very important. I think that's probably the most important part. Yeah. So,
and then I mean, I just don't want to hang up too much on like very short passages, as this video might be too long, and we'll just start rambling on and on, right?
No. People like long content anyway.
Yeah.
I think like if people don't like the content, they'll let us know.
Yeah.
Also, you gotta like doing it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I like talking about this type of stuff. So it's like, it's always fascinating to hear other people's opinions of something that can be interpreted differently by many different people.
Yeah.
And I always try to see everyone's view of it. Some views are a little bit more ecstatic than others.
Yeah.
But it's I'm always reading, I'm always looking at different opinions to see like, do I agree with this? No, do I agree with this? And stuff like that. And essentially, it kind of helps build with the conclusion that I see, and just finding similarities in it.
No, I think it's really important to have discourse like this. At least to me, I think it builds a lot of understanding that, like, I think the world surely needs, right? I think I should say this. I know that Loony has talked a lot on his channel about how he feels about some of the shipping wars that goes on. But like, okay, I understand, Loony, but like, I do want to say this is that, but like, if you feel differently about your ship, that's really good. The reason why I think it's great that you are all very passionate about your ships is that, like, that's what kind of like what a certain type of love means to you. And if it like reflects some of the things that you see and how that relates to your reality, that's really awesome. But I don't think we should be lost in what the opportunity arises from people having different ships. Is that fundamentally we'll learn a lot about each other through talking about our ships. And I don't think we need to necessarily villainize each other for them. No. Like, I think as like long as like we're not like honestly disrespecting maybe certain intents of the
Yeah.
of other people, and like
Yeah, yeah.
there's like worse examples. It's like the worst thing I can think of is like a character that they might think is trans, and you just straight up disagree and then tell them they're stupid or something, right? Like I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
like
yeah.
stuff like that, but like I think the point is that if you're gonna have ship wars, I think it's kind of cool that you can learn about a lot about yourself as much as other people through talking about um, how you differ on those ships, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
we're, I think the reality is that platonic and love is a lot more closer than people realize, especially in terms of figuring things out, which is a lot of what stories are about. It's not usually the conclusion that they get together. It's more like the figuring out if we're gonna get together, which is very
It,
common. You know?
yeah, it's. I don't want to get too far into like another shipping tangent because I could go on for days, but
Yeah,
like,
sure.
at the whole purpose that I try to do when I'm making any sort of shipping video is try to find common ground and realize that shipping is just for fun. Most stories, unless the main idea or main plot of it is romance,
Mm.
I think that it should always be considered something that you do for a lot of fun. I understand some people consider it something that is very passionate to them, and one of the reasons why they love a certain product. But also at the end of the day, like, it can cloud your mind. No pun intended. It can cloud your mind, like, to the point where you miss certain things that like aren't what you think it may be, and then when like later down the line when you find out your interpretation was not the way the actual writer or author are doing it, you feel like you feel betrayed when
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
like it's like you have to understand, like, you can be wrong. I'm wrong all the fucking time.
Like,
Holy shit.
yeah, for sure. Like, and honestly, maybe this is the best time to bring it up since you talked about it. But uh, honestly, guys, you don't need the you don't need the author's permission to have your ship.
Oh, of
Okay?
course not. Oh, of
Because
course
like
not.
the art is yours, right? On it, like, we're gonna talk about like authorial intent, sure, but like at the end of the day, if you think that this is about this character and you want to make your argument, well, other people are gonna argue with you, sure, and like you
Yeah.
can have fun or hate it, I don't know, whatever happens. But like regardless, no one can take that away from you, right?
No, of course not.
Not even the author can. No,
Of
it
course,
doesn't
of
matter
course.
what they say.
I
You
have
know?
I have ships that didn't fucking come true, and I still support them because I think they're fucking awesome.
Yeah, because like it says a lot about you than it does other people, and I think like people have to recognize that like when you're shipping, it's inherently pretty vulnerable to show like how you look at intimacy at times, and I think it's great. I think you should all do it.
Yeah, of course, of
It
course.
doesn't matter what the author says.
Yeah, yeah.
Go
Like,
for it.
we'll probably get into it more a little bit after we go through the rest of the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah.
But like at the end of the day, you know what? Your ship is your ship. Have fun with it. Be
Yeah.
be proud of your ship. Be happy. Look at fan art, fan fiction, whatever. Do whatever makes you happy with your ship.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the reason why shippers tend to get a huge negative reaction in any community, not even just Final Fantasy VII, is that they try to be very aggressive about it to try to. I mean, there's many different reasons why people try to be a little bit too aggressive,
Yeah.
but some people just don't. They just want something so badly that they sometimes go into a position where like they have like the only way they could get their point across is by being a little aggressive, and that's not the proper way to go things.
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. Like, I think you like again. I think you can usually tell when someone's actually being disrespectful, but like I think for the most part, y'all should be pretty kind to each other. I think that's
Yeah, of
an
course,
important thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Again, don't
I
lose
may
sight
prefer
that
one
like you're
ship.
trying to understand people at the end of the day, or just
Like-
as much as you want people to understand you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Like, I never really have an issue with other ships like I have my preference, but I never have an issue with other ships because like if that's what you like, then that's what you like. I'm not gonna tell you
Yeah.
it's wrong. I mean,
think-
joke about it, but that's just me joking around about like something stupid. Because
I think it's fun to be argumentative for argumentative.
Yeah.
sake. I think it's fun to
Of
be a little
course.
belligerent, like
yeah,
I
yeah,
think
but
it's good.
of course, no, it's fine. It's just that some
Yeah.
people don't understand that, and that's where the issue comes from.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But overall,
I'll have fun.
like this song is like shippers have shipping goggles. People use that term a lot, and it can sway people to think about certain things differently. This song is no exception, and
Yeah.
Nojima literally stated that if you want to consider this a love song, you can. But
Yeah, and
like,
when you listen to like what we have to say about it, I just want you to like know that like if you feel like what we're saying is bunk and you have like a good argument against what we're saying, that's fine. This is just like
Yeah.
how we're gonna make up the material in the context of the script and like try to tell you why we feel a bit different, maybe to you, or maybe we align. We'll see.
yeah. So
But,
yeah,
yeah.
like when we're not trying to sway you into thinking like this song isn't about how you interpret.
Well, I actually do want to correct. I do want to.
No, go ahead.
I do want to sway people in what I think, but I also don't bastardize anybody for not thinking the way that I do.
Right.
Because
You don't wanna force
I'm
it.
open in the same way. If you're going to give me time to listen to what I have to say, I want you to listen to like. I want to be able to listen to you if you feel like you have a good argument, and
Yes.
it's all about how you
Yeah.
do it. So like, that's
Yeah.
how I feel about every piece of fiction ever. You can see this on my channel all the time. Is that when I like first time react to something, I genuinely just like is just how I'm feeling at the time, and I think we can all like learn to understand the material better, even if it's a completely quote out there take. So. You know, I think it all pays off at the end. Here's the example. So we're not just like, here's an example of one where I'm not just saying this because it sounds nice. I don't agree with Loony on certain ships. There's certain ships that like
This is true.
Loony. I'll say this right now. Loony thinks that the ship between Luffy and Nami works.
Get out.
I don't. I'm like, oh,
Get out. Get out.
no, listen,
no.
I'm not on that ship. I'm on the merry-go. I'm not on that ship, but like I totally understand why Loony feels the way that he does about it, right? So, you know, and I'm not even done One Piece, so like we'll probably talk about it even more when we get further.
No, we won't. Anyway,
What the
moving
fuck?
on.
Fuck you can't do that to me. We have to disagree powerfully. All right.
You disagree with me with almost everything.
That's.
Okay, that's not true, but still.
I was gonna say something, but then I would have disagreed. Fuck.
No.
You
Okay,
can't do that. But yeah, like there's plenty of times that my friends have a ship that I don't see. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But, I'm not just saying this because I think it sounds nice. I do that all the time. So,
Yeah.
well, we'll keep going on. We'll keep moving on with the chorus here. Did you want to finish any other thoughts on that, Loony?
No.
It was kind of heady, but
Not really.
all right, cool. So let's actually go a little bit further on. So let's see. We are on the.
We're up
Dream
to Could It Be Chance?
Yeah, the Could It Be Chance. I think we pretty much explained the crux of that. The relationship between fate and destiny, and how Aerith has this like almost complicated relationship with it. I that's how I see it. I think the duality is that like the idea of being brought together by fate for some beautiful purpose is really cute. But I also think like Aerith is like conflicted about that because, you know, it ultimately leads her to having to leave, and that if they're not free, like if their relationship to being free is like that they were supposed to do this, isn't there something beautiful about just spending time with each other in general, right?
Yeah.
So I really love the complicated feelings that is derived from that. And then the next is the chorus. This is the big one. The till the day that we meet again. Where, when, I wish I could say, but believe, know that you'll find me. Promises to keep, we won't ever need. So this is a pretty heady one, and again, um, if this is outside of the context of the game, it would be very different. But in the context of the game, what do we know about like Aerith and like what her role is? We don't know everything about like where Seven is gonna go, 7R
Yeah.
that is. But like what we do have at least some knowledge of is that Aerith is passed on to some degree. There's a little timey-wimey alternate reality things going on, but like
Yeah.
for the most part, Aerith is going to be separated from the group. They are
Yeah,
not
in some
gonna
form
be...
or way. There's some people who believe that she's still alive in another timeline
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. But like, she will be separated from them in some form or way.
Yeah, we're not going to go too much into theories, but this is
Yeah.
I think this is for sure what the sentiment is right now, right? Is that like till the day we meet again, is that in the essence in the script of Seven is that she is inherited in the life stream. When people pass on, they go into the life stream. And so the way that I see this line is that she is hoping either two things, that like somehow destiny will be defied, which alludes to the line just prior, but also that if she can't deny destiny, it still works because she wants to reunite with either Cloud or the rest of them, or even just maybe even people in the live stream, that like she will see them again, hopefully, either defy destiny or through the powers of the live stream, she will still be able to have an impact that makes it feel like she's directly interacting with them again, right? That they know that, because what is communication if you feel like you can't actually, reciprocate it? So if she just like says something to the wind and like they can't respond, that's not really meeting each other again necessarily. So to meet each other, that line is to imply that they will have direct contact. They will like almost either lock eyes, speak to each other, etc. They will feel each other. And so this line is very much about the people, I think, who have passed on. It's about this very significant person, romantic or not, Cloud, and also just like the world itself. Because through her building a relationship with Cloud and everybody else, she has learned to love the world more. And so she's hoping that she will meet that again, right? Which you see that motif get brought up in other things, but I feel like that is essence of like the world getting intermingled with her sentiments there. But regardless, that's my take on it. What do you think, Loony?
Yeah, it also fits with what her mom said to her when she was younger, is that do not let go of that feeling of like seeing the positive in everything. Well, not the positive in everything, but the joy in everything.
Yeah.
And like, essentially, till the day we meet again, when aware, I wish I could say, it's literally it doesn't necessarily have to be about one person, but like every single person that she grew some sort of relationship with.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly, it fits Aerith as a character because she literally favors those relationships more, and that any relationships that she does have, she does want to hold on to it and meet that person again wherever fate or destiny takes her.
Yeah. And I actually do like that you bring up the positivity thing, because it's like the when or where I wish I could say. So like again, that longing for like a solid answer, the prophecy that she had about her fate now just becoming blurry to her. She doesn't know what is going to entail after this, which falls in line with the sentiments of even remake, like the end of remake, right? Of not knowing where to go. But like, she still thinks that like, I think even if you didn't apply this to like some convoluted plot scheme, I still think that there's something kind of beautiful about like that Aerith will still have had an impact regardless, and that like maybe even mentally she will like come back to them, right? Like
Yeah.
as like
Mm-hmm.
a memory or something, and that like that will propel them to succeed. I think it's
Yeah.
probably more the literal sense that she will probably see them again, but I think
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
her like it's very much like a celebration of the time that she has or that she could have
Mm-hmm.
on this planet, the short time that she has now, and how important that is. And I'm pretty sure most of us can relate to like wanting an impact either later or now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a great sentiment there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
yeah,
then comes the next, and then comes the next line, which is also one of the more I don't want to say controversial, but like one of the more key lines in this song. Promises to keep, we won't ever need.
yeah.
The
That's the
reason,
smoker.
yeah, because for a few reasons. One of them is that she has made a lot of promises, not just to
Hmm.
Cloud, but to a lot of people.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
you play Crisis Core, she makes a lot of promises to with Zack.
Zach.
She
Yep.
makes she makes other promises to like everyone else that the party and stuff like that. But she's talking about specifically this line where they don't need promises because she knows that they don't need a promise to meet
Hmm.
each other. She knows that they will.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it's just a weird line, specifically because the English localization of the ending of Final
Hmm.
Fantasy VII Rebirth talks about promises, but the song contradicts that. At least the English localization. The Japanese localization doesn't have like the promise line at all. So
Hmm.
that's why this line's a little debatable in like terms of like who she's actually referring to in this song, but I don't think she's necessarily talking about a promise to one individual.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Promises to keep, we won't ever need. What is that? Like, what is that we won't ever need part?
It's based on the actual translation from the Japanese writing and the lyrics. It's just supposed to mean that we won't need promises to
Right, right,
meet.
right.
It's
Promises
just the
we won't
English
ever need.
localization
Yeah,
making
yeah.
it like a more not rhyming but a more like poetic version of
Yeah,
that, of just something that simple.
I also think like it's also I think it can be easily read as like promises to keep we won't ever need. So like they won't have to keep promises, no, but also
Mm-hmm.
uh the line prior, which is that know that you'll find me, and that
Yeah.
we won't ever need, which is the desire, right? Like
Yeah.
needing is a desire. So like if you won't ever need again, that it's alluding to being fulfilled, maybe, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
alluding to the fact that they will
they'll be complete
they will meet again. They
finally.
will meet again at some point,
Yeah,
which
and
I
they'll
think
feel complete finally.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which I think will happen in part 3, that she will meet the people who that she will meet. You know,
Hmm.
like like we're not gonna get into the like the ending theories at all, but
Hmm.
like
Right.
there's still a lot of closures. Like certain characters need closure in some form or way at the end of Final Fantasy VII
Yeah.
Rebirth.
Yeah. The story's not done.
So yeah,
So
it's not done. So anything we say or anything anyone says is not like it's not correct until we get the full story completed, and then we'll know whether or not our theories or ideas or analysis is correct with what Nojima and the Final Fantasy 17 is doing with the game.
yeah, there'll be more like more overt things as time goes on.
Mm-hmm.
But like for right
Yeah,
now, this is like what we got, and
yeah,
I think that like there's still a lot of substance to it, even if we don't have the full picture. I think some
yeah,
people can hold back on being like, I won't feel anything until I know more. But like I still think there's a lot
yeah,
of like, I think pretty obvious stuff that the authors are intending here.
yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and in the end, like anyone, like because this is one of the things I don't necessarily like from people, like from users in general, who comment about stuff like, "Oh no, this is correct. I'm right. You're wrong. This is exactly what the author's intentions were." I'm like, you don't know what the author's intentions were, because most of the time authors either keep it vague or they just haven't completed the story yet. So
Again,
it's just
like we don't even need to know what the author's intent is. I'll say this
Yeah.
proud chested. I'm very good at understanding author's intent. Like I've been told that like I can understand like an author's intent like maybe like the first episode of like an anime or something, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, you got it, wow. So like I feel like I'm pretty good at that. I'm gonna toot my own horn there. But like again, I did say that like even regardless of author's intent, you can interpret it in your own way.
yeah.
And I think that if author's intent regardless, I still think arguably the song is still very vague enough that like you can still get a lot of stuff out of it that I'm not even saying here. So, yeah, like, interpret as you will.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, I guess we could move on to the next part.
Yeah, the verse 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, if only I'd never known all the burdens I was born to bear, lived a life without a care in the world save for you, but that won't do. And then it goes into the second chorus, but yeah.
Yeah. So to me, that you mean that those four, what is it, four? Yeah, 4 lines is I think talk about her role as a Cetra, in my personal opinion.
I think that's true, but I also think I can see it like as like a person as well, right? It's like a safe.
Well, no. When I mean by her role as a Cetra, I mean like she was born as a Cetra, so she has these, she has this not fate, but like these responsibilities that only she can have,
Yeah,
and
for
that
sure.
she wants like all the burdens I was born to bear, lived a life without a care, meaning that
Yeah.
she probably would have wanted to meet you without that burden, which
Yeah.
is something that she describes a lot, especially in Traces to Past, which is a Nojima written novel about Aerith's past. Is that her entire life she was lonely. She couldn't make any friends because like either people were not necessarily scared, but like found her weird because she would be talking to flowers and stuff like that, and or she just wouldn't really make any friends, and like she wished she didn't have that burden on her.
Yeah, for sure. And like I think it's good to kind of ground these things quite a bit, but like the way that like I interpret like Aerith's feelings is not like I don't think it's so disconnected. There's a part of me that's just like you guys can get like caught up in maybe how otherworldly fantasy Final Fantasy is, duh.
Yeah.
But like I think like when I look at this kind of sentiment of all the burdens I had to bear and knowing what Aerith's like capitulation is like, that it's kind of similar to if you get rid of like all the worldly like destiny fate implications that like definitely tinges her character is like really complex, but like it's almost like a person in real life like having like a terminal illness, and like they're just like thinking about the days that they're counting down, knowing when they're gonna die, because like we all struggle with like the idea that we're gonna eventually pass on one day, but like little do we know like when it is we will pass on, right? And I think like Aerith is like very much talking about how, like Loony was saying, the world, like the association with the Cetra, and how maybe she would feel a lot more lively if she didn't know her doomsday, right?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So, and like that is like a really like kind of heartbreaking, sentiment, is that like she wouldn't feel as like stressed, because you especially see this in the scene where they're Cloud and Aerith are on a date, and you can see that she's not really herself. Cloud mentions it, being like, "You're not really yourself, are you?" And she's like, "Huh, what?" And then they take a picture, and the guy goes, "You guys look like a funeral," right?
Yeah.
And so you can see the tension of that problem, that like knowing when her fate is gonna come, progressively as it gets closer and closer to that fatal hour, right? And I think like this kind of talks a little bit about that, or I would say relates with that kind of emotional disposition, and yeah, it's incredibly sad. All the burdens I was born to bear, and yeah, the role, what she's willing to take on, it just really shows how like powerful of a character Aerith is to be able to like make that kind of sacrifice.
Yeah,
And
and
save for you, right? Like I can
no.
see that as like, oh, it's about someone, but like also saving you kind of thing. I don't know if that's probably a stretch, but I
In the
really like
world,
that.
yeah, in the world, safe for you, but that won't do. Live the
Yeah,
life without care in the world, safe for you, but that won't do. If only
yeah.
I'd ever known all the burdens I was born to bear. Live the life without care in the world, safe for you, but that won't do.
And this is important though, because this is how verses and choruses work. So she's saying that won't do, and then it goes back into the till the day that we meet again, right? So like all these lines, the way that choruses work in song is that they get recontextualized every single time you add more to the verse, right? Or rather that they have complexities due to the way that the verse contrasts like a chorus, right? So how do you like repeat a line in a song and then make it seem like it's even more meaningful? And so like that's what this is doing, where it's like, but that won't do till the day we meet again. So it goes from, oh, safe for you, but that won't do till we meet again. So like she's not just gonna pass on here. Like just focus on this one person. It's just like they may have felt carefree in their life, but I still think like they're excited for the prospect that they will somehow be able to reunite in some sentimental, metaphorical, literal way, right? Does that make sense?
A little bit. This entire verse is the one that really confused me. It confuses me out of the entire song.
Okay.
Because it's like because I'm not really sure how to like analyze it because it's no go ahead because
all the burdens I had to bear. So like, okay, like let me do some layering. It's like, let's say that it's not about the role as a Citra. Let's just say like it's just general suffering. Because like again, I think it can be easily interpreted as that way. That Aerith has had a lot of tragedy, given that like she grew up even like losing her biological mother, and then like even getting these prophecies of like where she's gonna go, right? And some of the people, some of the burdens that she's had to take on for other people, right? And so all the burdens I was born to bear. So that is like her role as a Citra, sure. But like, you know, generally speaking, we're all born to bear like suffering. That's just how it is in life. And I lived a life without a care. So carefree, making it through, save for you, right? And so like now that someone special has come into their life, they don't feel carefree anymore. They feel even more on edge. And so they're saying that like but that won't do, right? They want to feel carefree with them, right? Because like that's like very freeing. Is saying like they have all these burdens and they're like, I'm not carefree, but I feel shackled and chained by this fate, this destiny that's coming across me. But then as it goes into the chorus, it's like till the day we meet again, that they will be more free, right?
Right.
Which is the promises, the key we won't ever need. Again, like you can look at the verse by itself, but it's important that you look at it as it going into the chorus as an extension of that verse. That's really important.
Okay.
Does that make sense? It might be a little. I might have had a bit difficulty trying to explain it too, but I hope that makes sense.
A little bit. It's still a little confusing to me.
Okay.
But I think I get it a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, it's this is the more, I think this is like one of the more complicated parts of the song, which I think is really cool. That like I've said that was generic before, but I think again this becomes more complicated when you think about the context of this song, right?
Yeah.
It's a lot more confusing overall when you figure out that Final Fantasy VII is already a very confusing game.
It can be very confusing, yeah.
People are very confusing. Emotions are very confusing, and Aerith is nothing short of a very complex character. So
Mm-hmm.
I think if anything, the fact that we're arguing it all is a testament to how how good she is.
I mean, yeah, definitely. And it,
Yeah.
yeah, man, I have honestly have this is the one verse where I can't give like a proper like any sort of analysis because it's just like I don't know. It's just one of those very difficult lines to really grasp for me personally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, like maybe take some time with it, and but you know, after this discussion, maybe it'll like something will click in.
Maybe, yeah.
Again, maybe running back the footage might help too. I hope like I made sense to everybody else as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, we can keep going though. Let's keep it going. Do you have any more to say about that line? Maybe.
No, not really.
All right. So yeah, it
Yeah.
goes back into the chorus. I already kind of
To-
explained. We already talked about that, but again, I think
Well, there's a slight difference.
in this chorus,
Yeah.
yes, because it's
Till the
on
day
our
that we
street.
meet again on our street,
Yeah.
which apparently the Japanese lyrics it's only sung in English, but like the direct translation of the Japanese lyrics that Nojima wrote, there is no on our street.
There is no on our street. Interesting.
Yes.
That is what we
And-
have, but
But
like,
that is what
yeah.
we have in the English
Yeah.
version. So I want
It's
so
still text, even though it was unintentional.
yeah, it's still it's unintentional, but it's still
It's still a
it's
part
still
of it.
in the final product. It's still in the
Yeah,
final
yeah,
product,
for
so
sure.
it's not like we can just avoid it.
Yeah, exactly. Like again, unintentional or not, it's all about how we want to look at it, right? So
Yeah, exactly.
on our street, I want to believe. So I don't know. Like, what do you think of that, Looney? What do you think it's about?
I mean, that could definitely it could definitely be a direct like reference to meeting Cloud on that street.
Yeah. That was like one of the first things I thought of. It was like
Yeah.
how Cloud and Aerith meet. It's like one of the first scenes you get. It's like such a
Yeah.
bizarre scene too in 7. You explode the freaking reactor and they're like, hey, here you go. Here's a flower.
Hey, take it.
Take it.
But then in the chance that we'll share a glance.
Mm-hmm.
So on our street, I want to believe in the chance that we'll share a glance.
Mm-hmm. Meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's on our street. Like it could definitely be direct reference to Cloud, but it's not very specific. It can also mean so many other people.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it doesn't have to like on our street doesn't necessarily have to mean like a literal fucking street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
It could be like a reference to like a certain spot that Eric or somebody meets somebody specifically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the street is like I'm pretty sure that like Aerith has met other people on different streets.
Yeah, of
us as a
course.
player, again I think of the Cloud scene, but
Yeah, of course.
again,
Me too.
like let's say this, even if it is about Cloud, which I kind of feel like it is. It's like at the same time, like Cloud is going to be a significant person to them, and like how you look at that significance, whether platonic, romantic, and that's regardless. Cloud is a good friend of theirs, right?
Yeah.
And
Like Cloud
they're
is
close. They're
yeah,
close.
like Cloud is an important person to Aerith. Like,
100%.
I
Like she sacrifices herself and everything. Like there's so much interaction even in that final action, right? So
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I think that there shouldn't be any argument over that. That Cloud is like an important person in Aerith's life.
for sure, for sure.
But the lyrics, or like the intention, could not necessarily be just specifically about him because she has met a lot of people in her life.
Yeah, and street is just a very, like there's I've met a lot of people on a street or something.
Yeah, so have I.
Or like
know?
or re-met with someone on a street, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, even the line it says itself is that we meet again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to reconvene back on the
Yeah.
street, etc. Right? Like
I think
yeah.
I think really it's just the hour part that's really the one
On
where
our
like a lot of
yeah.
people, like the hour is like
Mhm.
the word there,
The shared street, right?
yeah, the
It's
shared street.
our street. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
So
like
I mean, it's like it can definitely like it. Anyone can see it as something with to do with cloud, and
I mean
but
like
it's
here's my take.
debatable. I think it's still debatable at the end of the day.
Here's my take. I think that this
Mm-hmm.
line is about Cloud. That's how I kind of
Okay.
feel about it, right?
No,
I'm not
I
saying
can see that.
I'm not saying that it like it told like I'm not saying like 100% I'm totally right, but like I'm very confident that this line alludes to Cloud, and why wouldn't it? Cloud is a very significant person to them. But
Mm-hmm.
I still think that doesn't change the fact that the song is a song, that is
Mm-hmm.
she is performing, and that she's going through the motions of a lot of like a lot of things. So even though she might like have sparked a more overt thought to Cloud, which makes sense because they're close, it
Mm-hmm.
still feels like it's more than that, right? It's so much more than
Yeah.
like just Cloud. I get the impression that it's about everybody, right? That like she's
Mm-hmm.
close to, even if uh that is like it's in the mix. I think it's like a culmination of things, even if some parts stick out more, right? Like I don't think that's crazy to say that people can have complicated emotions about a song and think about more than just one person, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like it's while I think this is about Cloud, I think it's the rest of the song is not necessarily about Cloud specifically,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's
And
what makes it more complicated.
yeah, and it would align a lot with the idea because this song in the game, this song is played throughout. This song is played no matter what, right?
Yeah, for
It
sure.
happens. It happens no matter who you choose
The
to
date,
go on the
yeah,
dates or anything like
exactly.
that. The song is still played,
Yeah, great point.
and
Yeah.
like it it doesn't like based on that it doesn't necessarily mean that it's solely focused on Cloud because the song is played during like
Mhm.
certain parts of the play depending on who you're with
Yeah.
that it doesn't correlate to anything like her specifically being like romantic with Cloud like
Yeah.
telling Cloud
I,
romantically because then you have like him holding hands with Tifa,
yeah.
which I don't think happens at this part.
Mhm.
No, it definitely doesn't happen on this part, but like it's kind of weird that she would be mentioning or making this towards
Mhm.
Cloud when you kind of like have him interacting maybe with another person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And
a lot of people throw out like the optional stuff, like oh well, going on a date with Tifa and seeing that is just optional. It's not the canon event that happens in the story. Which me
right.
personally, I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way because at the end of the day, it is a game. It's a
Mhm.
player's choice game. The player could choose whatever they want. There is no canon path you could have during that, especially
Yeah.
with the idea of like there being multiple timelines and worlds and stuff like that.
Like, is it like daring that some people might think that that too will be like denied fate? That like oh, in the end, like it might steer you towards Tifa, but in the end, they'll get with Cloud, right? I don't personally adhere to that theory because I think there's so much more in the story that doesn't require them being romantically interested in each
Yeah.
other. Like
I agree.
require like I think like Final Fantasy VII's more about like other themes than just that.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Like there's way more characters than Cloud and Aerith, right?
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
it's not reductive that if they get together. What I'm saying is like I think there's a lot of like stuff in the material already that wouldn't require them to, right? That would still make it as meaningful and like purposeful, right?
Yeah.
That's my take. So yeah.
No. Yeah, I agree. Like, if this was really what they were gonna go with, like to make this more about Cloud and Aerith, you wouldn't have this song playing in all the optional stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think what's kind of cool is like you can see how that song is interpretive to the people witnessing it too. Like you can like again, this song is vague enough that anybody can get anything out of it, such as Cloud and Tifa holding hands because they feel something for each other. That they're projecting how they feel about each other in a moment, right? They didn't do it right away, but they felt it in that moment. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And intimacy and maybe thinking about who knows what. That's the whole point of performance, is that it's so interpretive. And I think that's what that scene does a really great job at, is that you can't even really make out people on Aerith's perspective in the crowd. Like, we know that, like, there's flashes where we can see it, but, like, at the end of the day, like, it's still up to interpretation who Aerith is seeing. But regardless, I think it's like the whole what is this line? Let's see. The street thing again? I actually kind of thought of Biggs, actually. Because
Interesting.
because
Why?
Biggs is like close to that like orphanage, and like they shared moments together there, right? I'm pretty sure.
Well, we don't. I don't know if it's in Traces to Pass, but I would assume they met at some point because of the orphanage.
Yeah, and so like that is shared. That would be their street too. Like I feel like Aerith is also a character that would be willingly like, oh, it's our street now. Like she's like someone who's like she'll indoctrinate anybody into the family in the same way that she like brought everybody home as well.
Yeah, I think that might be somewhat a weak argument. Not that I disagree with you. It's just it might be a little bit weak, weak argument a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
But on our street, like you see, Aerith meeting Elmira on a random street, her foster adopted mother. So maybe she's talking about that street as well. So that's why it's like on our street it can definitely be interpreted differently. But I agree with you in the sense that this definitely does seem more Cloud centric.
Yeah, because
more than anything.
Yeah, because like, honestly, when you say that, I just thought of it that maybe she wouldn't say that street because, well, like, would she even like want to think fondly of that street because of like the death? Like, if anything, she'll think more fondly of the home than she would.
Oh, you're talking about.
Right?
Oh, you're talking about. I'm sorry, I was confused. I was talking about the street that she met Cloud on. You're talking about the. I got a little confused.
With Elmira and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's fair. She wouldn't want to think fondly.
She wouldn't think like she wouldn't call that our street. She would. A more positive one would be meaning someone quite like fond, right? So that's why I attributed it to like maybe the orphanage or close to there, or like just other people in general. Regardless, I've already said that I think it's like more about Cloud, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the whole song is about Cloud. That's my argument, right?
Like
I think it's more than that.
You could also put it as like, oh, this is like her thinking like as she because there's a scene of her us seeing her writing this lyric, right? And it could be just about like, okay, that was a precious moment that, I thought about that I had with someone that I cared about. I want to incorporate into the song because I think that one, that was a very special moment that I met Cloud for the first time, but also like it can be used for a lot of people that she hasn't met. So in a sense, she used it specifically because she thought that was it was a very impactful moment in her life. Yeah. So,
and like, I think like again, opportunity of the world, right? Because like she's not, she obviously is thinking about very key people in it. But like the fact that she's performing it to a bunch of people, right, at the same time, it's almost like a declaration to the world that like she will meet again, right, in this world, like not just a part of the live stream, but like she'll be able to like stand on the street or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's like noteworthy as well in terms of how you see it.
Yeah.
But any more that we have to say about that?
I don't think so. I think the next important one would be a little bit down, where it's similar, but it's at Owl Place, which I think is a lot more. It goes on. So it's in the chance that we share a glance, promises to keep you one beneath till the day we meet again at Owl Place. Just let me believe.
Yeah.
At Owl Place.
Let me believe.
At the time you could probably just have that, a reference just any specific place that she met somebody. And then you have, but then you have later on in the chapter 14 error date, she talks about Owl Place.
Yeah, the flowers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it is important to actually think about the Japanese dialogue as well, because it is the native, language. And sometimes the English localization can be a little off. The Japanese dialogue for that moment is not Owl Place, but it's a place of memories.
Interesting.
So, but to this, at Our Place could be very, like, just about anybody, that she could just literally be thinking about anybody that she hasn't met.
Exactly. I mean, like, as I said, she brings people to her home all the time. Or, like, Our Place could be, wherever they hang
Our Place
out,
could be, the underground basement of Don Corneo's where she
yeah.
meets Tifa.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
I joke because I doubt you ever think of like that Owl Place because it's fucking Don Corneo of all fucking people. But like you know what I'm saying. Like
all I'm saying
it's a place that they
Aerith
met.
Tifa is real. That's all I'm gonna say. Aerith x Tifa, that's canon. I mean, yeah.
I mean, if that's your ship it.
I haven't really thought about that one, but I would love that somehow.
I mean, they're really good friends. So at the end of the day, friendship, baby.
That's the one thing I love about 7 is that they made that dynamic way better. I love that Tifa and Aerith have like a genuinely good like friendship.
Yeah.
Like, or just chemistry. I'm just gonna say chemistry.
Yeah, they have a good chemistry. Yeah. Well, they do have a great chemistry. It has been debate about some of that stuff with the way sometimes Aerith responds to certain stuff and like Tifa responding as well to certain stuff. Like there are people who are debating like, oh, I don't like I don't like how Aerith was here. I thought she was, she wasn't, portrayed properly here because of this and that. And there are some arguments to be made on certain things, right? But overall, they are really good fucking friends. I don't agree with the whole thing about trying to make the other character look like shit just because of a few dialogue choices.
Yeah,
it's just like
I don't think it's like a character assassination. Is that what the argument is?
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, well, there's shippers. And a lot of other character-driven fans tend to shit on another character just to, to showcase like their character's much better. Look how shit this character is, or like this character is a shit character because she did this and that. And that's why she shouldn't be with this person and that person. It's happens all the time in shipping and just in general of anyone being a fan of any character. It's I don't like those arguments at all.
I don't either. I hear that and I go no.
Yeah. Like you could critique the writing for some of the dialogue, which a lot of people do in Rebirth, but you shouldn't do that in terms of like what the game is telling you is that they were really close friends. Otherwise, why would Tifa be so heartbroken about what happens with Eric?
I feel like they genuinely cared, and like even then
of course.
Of like what it is that they could have been as friends. Like it's just there's a lot of grief and loss that happens in that moment,
Yeah,
and I think 7 does a great job at handling that, especially Rebirth. Rebirth is really excellent in that, I think. Original too. Just had to say that.
And also, I'm just going through one more shipping thing because it kind of correlates to character assassination and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is just essentially that, people on one side don't like necessarily how, if assuming that Aerith does feel strong feelings for Cloud, she's betraying Tifa because she knows Tifa's feelings because they obviously talked about, there's a scene in chapter, what was it? Chapter 5, when the farewell day, where Eris is like, let's talk about boys, which in the Japanese version is about first loves. So
right,
at some
right.
point they would have talked that Tifa might have confessed that she did like Cloud. So a lot of people
Right.
did not like the way Eris responded to certain things, where she was trying to get a little bit more maybe intimate with Cloud. Despite the fact she knew Tifa's feelings. Which is explained much better in Trace of Two Paths, that Tifa does actually fall in love with Cloud like when she was a child.
Yeah, that
Well, not a
seems
child.
pretty.
Teenage,
That's,
preteen, teen, whatever.
yeah, that
around there.
seems like pretty text heavy. Like I feel like that supports the text. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah, but like character assassination like that, I don't think that was Eret's intention. She's just very playful and very teasing.
Yeah,
You know? And
yeah.
maybe she did, because I think at some point she does feel like some sort of romantic undertone, some sort of romantic feelings for Cloud, but part of it is literally her not truly understanding her feelings, for Cloud, because it's still confusing to her.
I think it's fair to say that it's her feelings are complicated, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, if anything, Cloud and Aerith both share complicated feelings about
Yeah, of course,
everything, right?
Yeah. And we could go on, and we could talk about more about that, but like it's not that important to when discussing these lyrics and the song in general.
Yeah, why can't we talk about why they ain't rapping? Like, why ain't she rapping though? Like, she would have gotten this out way better if she was just like, like that. It's hard.
I don't know if this is a fucking dream I had once, but I remember for some reason I thought I remembered like a scene of Aerith rapping. I don't know why.
Way.
I don't know why.
No way. What? Really?
I feel like why.
I feel like a fever dream making that in my brain. You dreamt that? That would have been wild.
I don't know. I don't know why. It's just so weird. I don't know. It's just like, didn't Aerith have something where she like playfully rapped or something? It's like, no, that is out of my. That is. I think I think I just gaslighted myself.
I wish. The game would have been really good. They would have finally made a good game after that. That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But like, yeah.
Yeah.
So
no.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a side tangent. At the end of the day, I'm just gonna make this final statement. Don't assassinate other people's favorite characters or try to make other people's favorite characters worse, or like try to attack them to just support whatever the hell it is you're supporting. It's one of the worst things you can do.
I don't think there's
sort
too
of
much.
any debate.
I don't think there's too much to attack here.
There is not.
There might be some characters I don't like though. I'll say that. I can't think of any, but
if there's characters you don't like, that's fine. You could criticize that, but like assassinating characters for a specific goal, a specific agenda, is what I'm saying is not proper. Unless we're supposed to hate that fucking character.
There'll always be people like that.
Of course. It's common in shipping. It's common fucking shipping. It's insane.
It's common in just basic media literacy discussion. It's like people just like. I mean, honestly, I think it happens all the time with the big three. I talked about this. I talked about this recently, that I think most of the story gets boiled down to archetypes and stereotypes, and then everyone the masses just all with maybe their little bit of lack of skill will just all kind of parrot each other because everyone's just agreeing, and that sounds like the most correct. But I genuinely think the big three has suffered the most under unintentional assassination and mob mentality over a generic thing.
Most definitely.
Yeah, man, the stuff that I see about Nami and Usopp. Oh my god.
God damn.
I don't
fucking
even know.
Hell. Don't even get me started on that. But yeah, we could go on forever on that. But
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway. Take my hand and never let me go. Yeah. No.
Just want to say that song's bad.
Yeah.
She doesn't rap, and quite frankly, Cobblestone doesn't hit that hard in the outro here. It just doesn't
all right, calm
roll
down.
off the tongue.
All right, calm down.
Oh,
Take my hand and never let me go. Take my hand, and we believe we can be together evermore.
Take
Which is
my
just basically saying, when we meet, we'll hold hands and then we sing Kumbaya and we'll be together forevermore because yay!
I feel like that's pretty. Like, I feel like it'll be a bit redundant to try and explain, but like I think that line just alludes to what we talked about reuniting. The reunion flowers are in the background, all that, right? Like that's important to note. And then I don't want to go too much for that, but like there's a little bridge, there's a little instrumental bridge, sounds good. I think the sonic choice of this song is very like triumphant and like it's very celebratory. I think that's important to note that like on top of like what Aerith's character is, I think it's good to know that like the song is kind of sad and has like a tinge of bitterness to it, but I also think it's kind of like very hopeful. There's a lot of hope in this song, and I think most people feel it, which is why like even Cloud or like other characters will like hold each other's hands and stuff because they just feel so much like fulfillment in that moment, right? So a really great part of the song. I just think that needed to be said. But the last part is walking the city streets with worn cobblestones again. But there's a line change, which is struggling against the crowds, finding ourselves all alone. Fate and destiny are no guarantee. Still, I hope someday you'll come and find me. Which, again, well, the lines prior, but this one, fate and destiny, it's like making that more intertwined with its like final part. I think that's important.
And no guarantee, still hope someday you'll come and find me. Which can heavily relate to the ending of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah. Like
no question.
There's
like
a lot of theories about that, but
it's not really a dispute that it kind of references to that.
Yeah, it kind of references the original or potentially maybe the differences in the new one. So who knows? But I think regardless, it'll play on that somehow.
But at the end, in terms of the lyrics, like. Because you hear the song before you even get to the ending, right? And I'm thinking it that way, and it's just like it's not necessarily about Cloud or anyone specific.
Yeah.
It's just about someone that she has met that one day hopefully you'll find her again through the crowds, and where it's just a random, not necessarily a random encounter, but like it's not determined by fate or destiny, but that she will. And meet this person again, and that person will find her.
Yeah, that's sentimentally what it's all about, right? That like she will have an impact, and again, you can take that metaphorically, literally, sentimentally, as you will. But I think they all work, and I think that's important to know. That's why I think the song was so vague. It's supposed to touch on all those things, right?
Yeah.
So. Struggling against the crowds and finding ourselves all alone, which is a cool line because there's like a weird implication that if you're in a crowd, are you really alone? But like that's a very like popular sensation is that you can be in a wave of millions, but it's only until you find a certain special someone where like you're not alone anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the fate and destiny are no guarantee on top of that line. It's just kind of say like, again, let's deny fate and destiny. Maybe let's go back to that line prior, which is about chance. That fate and destiny will be in our hands, not some divine, celestial script, right? So, So it's them being able to have the purest connection by virtue of them just wanting to spend time with each other. No, they had to, right? And I think that line hits really hard because especially some of the implications of like what Cloud is at that point and like who they are and like how they're kind of linked with Zack a little bit. But it's really interesting that the whole point is that they want to be as free as possible and how natural that will be that it won't be sensationalist. It'll be just as authentic as can be, right?
I agree.
So walking the cobblestones that you can think about that as Cloud, but again I do think that some people can look at it a little differently. It's just
Yeah.
a generic place. It's her
Yeah.
routine. It's where she commonly goes. And till the day someday you'll come and find me. Yeah, still I hope someday you'll come and I hope. It's again the hope thing. It's
Yeah.
which I think works because the song sounds very hopeful.
Yeah. And,
and,
then still, I know someday you'll come and find me.
Yep. But I do want to say this because again, context really matters here. The reason why I insist that it's not just about Cloud is because I think like the visuals alone allude to it being way more about that. Like suddenly she is extending her hands and the live stream is like flooding in and people feel it. And that like whether that is like literal like live stream or not, what it is still the perspective of what I think is Aerith's eyes and being able to see somebody that she might either think that she's going to reunite with or see in the live stream or hoping that she'll even be able to see them sometime or that she'll share the same thing and to even feel like she made it this far because of people like them. Yeah, you know, it's just really sad, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
she's crying. It's just oh, what a beautiful scene, and that's why I think it becomes more broad when the narrative, the visuals are literally telling you that some of those words were felt even for them, you know,
Yeah.
and that's why like you can apply it to like Aerith's mom or other people because it's Aerith is like giving it to the world, and like there's this scene even towards the end where like Cloud takes her hand and then like she kind of looks out, but they focus in. There's like a close shot to really get you to see what she's looking at, and she raises her hands to the world as like little sparkles come down. It's like she is now given her all to the world that she might never see again, right? And I think way you interpret as you will, I think that's like fundamentally what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you,
So
what do you think, Loony?
yeah. I mean, the performance kind of should definitely showcases that it's not about one individual person because why would every single like she's putting on a performance, she's singing to a large group of people who don't know about Aerith's relationship with Cloud, right?
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
Aerith's relationship with anybody. So it's her. While yes, it's you can definitely interpret it that way that it's her talking about Cloud.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
The song doesn't come off like that to anyone else.
The performance and the context of it, where it's like Aerith
The
is
shots as well.
Yeah, like Aerith is such a loving character. That's such like in her nature. I think that like she just like loves like one of the reasons why she even connects with Cloud is because she's just like and like Flower. She's always been quite sociable. She's very sympathetic and considerate, even with the way that she handles like children. That's just how she is, and she's just very loving. And so for her to even be able to think even remotely about these small little characters in the midst of all the things that she's going to miss, I think that just sounds textually pretty sound, right? I think it's about Cloud. I agreed that I think it's about Cloud, but I think that there's a lot more to suggest that it's about a lot more people, right?
Yeah. And it would fit more of Aerith's character more than anything,
Yeah,
because
like
she can be she can be like selfish. She can want things, that and doesn't want anyone else to have them. But at the end of the day, she is incredibly like caring and cares so much about everyone. And and it's not like she wants to continue exploring the world, seeing all these great things with her friends, and having that moment like for everyone that she meets that she becomes friends with. There's that scene with she has an under June on with Priscilla, where like she's like, well, next time we see each other, you can tell me all about it. You know, when Priscilla tries to talk about her meeting with Mr. Dolphin, she doesn't get a chance to do that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least I don't remember if she does, because you do go back to under June on, but
Yeah, exactly.
from my memory, I don't think you do get to hear that story anyway. But
Yeah.
It's a relationship with like a lot of things and people and the world itself at large, right? It's opportunity and everything, right?
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
So that's pretty much going over the lyrics. I mean,
Yeah, that's our interpretation. We'll see how
yeah.
y'all feel, but I hope you enjoyed or got some substance out of that. You know?
Yeah, just from our own interpretations, and our interpretations can be very different from yours, and that's okay.
If you have like additional things to add, or like maybe stuff we missed or whatever, let us know. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, specifically the lyrics, because we can talk about other things that are causing this huge debate over this song, specifically with the creators of the song. And I'm not just talking about like the Lauren or Nobuo-san or Nojima-san, but like, you know, a lot of people who talk about the song, who debate about the song, usually you use like people's from the creative team, from the dev team, talking about their song and like what it means to them. You know, there's one side who's saying that Lauren did research about how she wanted to sing the song.
Yeah, she said it herself that she like
study the relationship between Cloud and Aerith.
Yeah, because she was just like, I want to know I want to understand Aerith, and I think that I will get like some fragility and softness if I think about the way that she might sing it to somebody like Cloud. So like I think like if you look at some of the performance of that and then feel that that's working, that's great. But I have to ask, like, I said it like twice, but like, even if the authors say it's like this way or not, that doesn't really like stop you from using your text and making your own arguments and just generally feeling the way that you do. But like, I don't really see how this is a smoking gun for people. This doesn't really make much sense to me, to be honest, where like, I get that you look at like the actor who is being entrusted to play a character, but like it's also up to the directors to choose whether or not this is the song about that or not, and like if their performance aligns with their vision. Because at the end of the day, like she didn't even write the lyrics. She didn't do that, and she also like. She's not the character, even though she's acting it, right? So, like, even if she did intend it to be that way, as far as I can see, Nobu never said overtly that was true. That it's like, oh, great job! Like you definitely did it because you portrayed it directly to Cloud. It's not really like what's happened. I think some people have misconstrued him saying like, oh well, I agree, that's great, but like he didn't say that about like, oh, it's great that you thought of Cloud specifically. It was in response to the band and like the performance, like
the band version that she had more fun with the band version of it.
Yeah, and if you guys want the link to that, we can like put it in. But like you go read on it. Like she's not saying that to like about that. It's I think there's a bit of a misreading that's going on there, because that wouldn't really align with what Nobu had said in the recent interview, where he just said, I wanted to make it about literally anybody, right?
No, that was Nojima, not Nobu.
Oh yeah, Nojima, yeah. So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
and
again, you can't just
like he.
you can't just say like this is like the Mark Hamill argument where like somebody goes, well, Mark Hamill thought this, and it's just like, sure, but he's just the actor. Like he didn't write the script, right? So if you really are going on a metatextual level and trying to take the author's intent and like really putting weight to your argument, well, the author's intent wasn't supposed to be specifically for Cloud, right? Like, so there you go. I think
and
it is,
I could,
but sure, right?
let me read what the question was and stuff like that about and the statement.
Yeah, go for it.
Just for everybody. So the question that was asked was there anything you paid attention to when singing No Promises to Keep? Lauren replies, I wanted to get to know Aerith well, and I also wanted to depict her relationship with Cloud. So for me to channel her fragile and pure personality, I needed to change certain elements of my natural vocals to match up with her character.
Yeah.
But I also enjoyed singing the band version because it allowed me to be me, adding more riffs and fun things.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then
Or Matsu, I apologize, I said his name wrong. Uematsu, I'm sorry, my brain is fried. We've been recording for like almost 2 hours. But Uematsu then responds after she says that, I agree with you. You seem to have enjoyed singing the band version more. You nailed the singing the orchestral version used in the game, but you were very lively when you were singing the band version. It was fascinating to watch you perform differently, and it made me have to see two different versions of yourself. She then responds, I have done similar work on The Greatest Showman where I provided my singing voice for a character, so in a way both of these experiences are like acting. However, since I have my own style outside of movies and games, I'm humbled to hear that you also enjoy my style of singing. So it was never about how Lauren specifically interpreted.
I don't think it's literally about that. It's like he's showing that he's listening, and the thing that he showed he listened to was specifically about the band. He's just like, exactly. I agree. And then the band. Yeah. Like, this is a very common way to show you like what you're talking about, and that's what he said. He didn't say anything about the relationship between Cloud and Aerith. Yeah,
right. And he does mention, I don't know if it's in this interview or another one. He does mention wait, hold on. He mentions something about it being similar to like a ballad, and I think he did use the word love ballad. I'm not sure.
Well, no, because it is a love song. Like he says that.
Yeah.
And like
it is a love song.
But a love song doesn't mean specifically one person. It's a love for life, a love for people, a love for friends. Like love is like way more complicated than romantic, right? So like calling it a love song is, again, that's kind of what I addressed earlier. It's like it can be about pretty much anything.
Yeah.
So, like, calling it a love song is completely correct, but like it doesn't the details is where you're gonna have to get more into the weeds. Yeah,
and I've seen this argument thrown around because some people disagree with it being like vague or like a love song from Aerith to possibly anyone, or just it just being vague. Is that they threw around that what the hell is the Titanic song?
Like I Will Go On? That one?
Yeah, I Will Go On. Yeah. Which, they joked around and memed it saying that, oh yeah, because that song was not for Jack, it was for everybody. It was, for the captain of the ship, it was all for that. Which I mean,
again, you should read the context better. That's my argument.
Like, I think
okay, go ahead.
Like, I get it's a joke, but if you really listen to the song, it's not just about one person's relationship to another character.
Like, just see like where she's performing it. Even like, again, you don't even have to just listen to the song. Listen to how the song plays into the scene, and like who we see. We see Biggs, Jesse, Wedge. We see like her being emotional. This darkened crowd where like you can see some people in the crowd and some people not, right? Because that's also playing on her perspective. Or if anything, it tells you that how the characters are reacting. But like, if anything, I think the text supports that Aerith is just singing outward, and there's like at least multiple shots of her just having her hands out, showing it to the crowd, right? It's like,
I think that's the major thing about just in terms of visuals that you see is that if she
Yeah.
was really if this was really a love song for her straight to Cloud, why are we seeing Jesse Biggs and Wedge in that scene? Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing is like,
why?
like you can like people perform and think of people specifically. I'm not like saying that doesn't happen.
Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of magical and clarity shots as a director in like the visuals that sort of supports what I'm saying, which is the song's kind of vague anyways, and the visuals show that like Aerith can probably think about a bunch of people, including the people that passed on, right? So
Yeah.
you know, that's
Yeah,
that's the
and
thing.
like I understand the argument that, well, that doesn't matter because she could be saying it as the song could be vague, but Aerith specifically Aerith is talking about Cloud, which
Yeah.
it's like, okay, if that's how you interpret it, sure, and by context it can be like that, but if that's
For
the
sure.
case, like you wouldn't have these other scenes in play that
Yeah.
also occur depending on who your synergy relationship is strongest with,
Yeah.
right? So
Again-
it's like, I understand that argument, but in the context of like the player, some people may not see that. Some people may not see that. The developers even said, make sure to check out all the scenes between all the characters.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's
'Cause
like,
it plays with perspective a bit, and
yeah,
again, like the emphasis just. I already argued that I think that there's lines in it that is about Cloud, but
Yes.
like, it's not just about Cloud, right?
yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So
I'm not gonna tell you that it's not, that there's not verses in the song that are not about Cloud. I'm
would
not
be-
gonna
it
say
would-
that because
yeah, it would be. I think it would be ridiculous to say that she didn't think about Cloud. That,
Yeah,
that if we were want to go
yeah,
on
exactly.
ridiculous arguments, that would be the one
Yeah.
that I would feel weird
Yeah.
about. I'd be like, really? You think so?
yeah,
oh well.
but at the end of the day, the song is about her feelings in general. Could be about, if you want to interpret it, could be about one person. Sure, it could be.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to interpret it to be about Cloud, great, awesome, good for you. If you want to
Yeah,
interpret it
for
to be
sure.
about Zach, great, awesome, good for you.
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean they're joined at the hip anyway.
Well, and it's just like, but the song is still vague enough that it's not strictly a love song from Aerith to Cloud. You have that one. You do have that one shot if you choose Aerith as a date where she does look at him, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure.
while me and Hugs were watching a video about all different views of that thing, we took notice of like every single shot that wasn't a different scene, wasn't a different shot. And for the most part, especially at the ending when the song really and the performance really amps up, she doesn't look at Cloud.
Yeah.
You
She
see
doesn't
Cloud
even-
looking at her.
Yeah, Cloud.
But-
like Cloud is someone close to her, like supports her, but then she like redirects her focus back into the world again with everybody
Yeah.
standing there.
Yeah.
It's
And-
everybody.
Yeah, and visually, that is important to know. As anyone working with a director or a camera, there are reasons for certain things. Sometimes they
Yeah.
may not be, but there are reasons visually what they want us to see. And they want us to see, that scene of Jesse Biggs and Wedge for a reason. That she isn't just talking about one individual, but she's talking about just how anyone who has ever lost somebody who wants to meet them again should
Yeah.
feel with that song.
For
That
sure.
at the end of the day, everyone, when they die, goes into the live stream.
Yep,
So the hope is that
exactly.
one day you will meet them, and you don't need promises because you know that you
Yep.
will meet them. Whether it's in the actual world or in the live stream, you will meet them.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's pretty well said. It's there's a lot of thought there's more than just one thing going on. I see this kind of like argument a lot where like people will like compare manga shots, like a manga shot between like an anime shot, and they'll be like, well, would you look at this? The manga shot is more stark here. And I'm just like, sure, but did you see how it worked directorially and like the way that the scene was animated between two different shots that has a lot of meaning behind it, aside from just the one singular shot, right? So
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that go into like making things more clear because this isn't just the song of Aerith and um Cloud. There's art directors, engineers, stage
Mhm.
performers, character designers that all like
Scenario.
went
It's
there. Yeah, the
just
the writers to all
yeah.
green light and make it so that this vision makes sense and has a lot going for it. And
Yeah.
I
And
think there's a
and
lot to chew into.
all right. And there's also one other factor that I think a lot of people don't realize that not everyone's a shipper. People don't
Yeah,
go
yeah,
into
yeah.
Final Fantasy VII to be a shipper or a ship. It's not a rom com. It's not a dating, visual novel. It's not like one of those games where like you get to choose who gets to be your girlfriend. It's a dating sim.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it caters more to the casual players who enjoy Final Fantasy VII for its story. So
Yep, yep.
it makes a lot more sense that this song isn't specifically about one person to another person, but like a much grander meaning, which
Yep.
is what Nojima mentioned in his statement, where it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
about everything about one person, but a lot of people.
Yeah,
know?
exactly. And so
And
like
e-
yeah, that's just like our look at it, like
Yeah,
to
yeah,
support
exactly.
how we think it was intended and how we feel about it. And I just think it aligns more with what Nojima said.
Yeah, and even he said that if that's how you want to interpret it, that's perfectly
Yeah,
fine.
absolutely,
Like,
absolutely.
he's not against it, but
I mean, you guys are all doing what he intended, which is to interpret as you want, right?
yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's why you have to
And-
be careful about how you treat other people if there's a lot there, you know?
and he gave his intentions of what he wanted the song to be about, and that's that's what he wanted.
Yeah,
And he's perfectly fine with you taking it any other way you wanted to.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you should disregard his intentions at all either.
yeah,
right?
exactly. So
Okay. So that's why it's like, because when he posted that on Twitter, there were a lot of people who were upset about it. Because they thought he was backpedaling. I don't know Nojima, so I can't tell you what kind of person he is, right? But he's a writer. He's been in the industry for a long fucking time. If he's not threatened or will change his vision because of a loud minority, he won't do it. He just won't do it. He mentions that this is what he's sticking with, and he has conviction, which is something every writer needs. You could
Yeah.
criticize the writing, right? If you don't like it, then you don't like it, whatever. But at the end of the day, you should still respect somewhat his
Yeah.
vision
yeah,
and
yeah.
his conviction that he wants to stick with his vision,
You
which is
don't-
why I respect him.
Yeah, and you don't have to adhere to it, but yeah, definitely just understanding what they intended, I think, can go a long way too. But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think
I think that's
That's
pretty much
about-
it
I
that
think
we could
that's
go
it.
over.
yeah.
All
Well,
right, so
it was a good
let's just
discussion.
give
Yeah.
before we go off, final verdict, Hugs, if you have any about this song, about like your final opinion on this song.
It's pretty good.
I was hoping for a little bit more than that, but okay.
No, I think it's a really lovely and it makes me emotional, and I go, wow, I fucking love anime. That's how I feel.
For me, I think it's an Aerith love song, to every single individual, every living being, not every living being. What am I saying? Like it's a love song to her friends, to people she had met in her entire life, to the planet, and I think that's what, at the end of the day, that's what this song is meant to represent, as well as give anyone the chance to tell someone else that the same feelings that Aerith has towards them or towards anything that they care about, and that's mostly what love songs are all about.
Absolutely. It's all about we all want to be connected to certain people because we're discriminate like that. We got our special little flowers, you know what I'm saying? But
Except
yeah,
Sephiroth. Fuck
Except
Sephiroth.
no. Well, Cloud was.
He
fucked
killed.
up.
No. Well, no. Let's not get into that.
What do you mean? No, it's true.
Let's not get into that. Listen.
true. I'm
He
telling you.
destroyed Tifa's, Aerith's lives. All right, fuck him.
No, guys, he's just complicated. He did nothing
Shut up.
wrong.
He's evil.
No, he's just
Stop
gay.
trying. No.
That's
God.
all. He's just gay. Okay?
Yes, whatever.
That's obvious.
He's-
Everybody knows that.
He wants Cloud so
He
much.
wants
He would do anything.
Cloud so bad. It's insane.
Yeah.
Ugh,
All right.
God.
Well, thank you for joining me today, Hugs.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for having me. I hope you guys thought it was cool.
Oh no,
Glad
you're
it's
gonna get a lot of hate mail now.
Oh, well,
Like, how dare you say that? This song is about Aerith's love to Cloud. Damn it.
you know what? Bad Cloud, good Cloud. You know what I'm saying? It's all the same. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. I got it.
Yeah. But it is a good discussion to have. So I'm glad
Thank
you were
you.
part of it.
Yeah, I think I might have went a little longer, but I hope it was great. I had a good time talking about it. It was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Hopefully anyone watches 2 hours of us babbling about a goddamn fucking.
They
lyrics.
will. Give it time. I'm telling you.
Give it. I'm gonna have to cut out a lot of the fluff.
Whatever.
So basically, I'm gonna cut out every single thing you said.
Well, honestly, that would be a fire video. I just show up at the beginning and then Loony's just
just
talking
me
to himself
talking-
for
yeah,
2
talking to
hours, and then
myself,
suddenly
yeah.
I come back and be like, "Well, thanks for having me."
Exactly, perfect video.
Hey,
But
thank
nah.
you guys.
Yeah. But thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening, and hopefully, and be civil in the comment section if you did decide to watch all 2 hours of this goddamn video, or whatever the amount
Whatever
is. Just
the
be
length
civil in the
is.
comments. We get it. You interpret the song differently. That's fine. That's your interpretation. But again, interpretations are opinions.
Go play Final
It's not
Fantasy
factual.
14, everybody.
No. Play Final Fantasy 13.
Oh, fuck yeah! Oh,
All right,
yeah,
take
that's
care,
what they're
everyone. Have a
talking about. Lightning will return.
Yeah, there you go. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.